Hello and welcome to the Delirium engine, where we often get derailed and not produce our content on the right day because of women.
And alcohol.
And alcohol.
Yep.
And drunk driving laws. And beliefs in personal and the safety of others.
I like how that was last on the list.
Yep.
As if it wasn't. It was the
It's
least
the least important.
That's
Yeah.
correct. It was the least important. As long as I'm alive, that's fine.
Everybody else doesn't really matter.
You're all illusions.
All voices in your head.
You're just voices in my head.
Yep.
You're not even real. Alright, well, welcome back. Today, we are, once again, moving into part 2 of part 2 of our episode, Let's module. This module that we're working on is called A Brush with Mong.
Yep.
And we'll go over the brief details about A Brush with Mong here and sort of get everybody up to speed. I'm here right now with Dr. Postdox, Will, if you will.
Do we change that?
I did.
He did,
You're the man. All right.
Thank you. And then we also have the Spartan here.
as usual.
And, and then there's myself. And yeah, well, let's just jump right into it.
All right.
I don't know why, but making light of Phil DeFranco seems to be a thing.
Huh?
That's where the let's just jump right into it comes from.
He's a
Oh.
good man. Good man. Does
alright.
good work.
He's alright.
I like him.
A lot of people do. I don't know. I just stopped listening to him because I was like, I don't want to hear fake two sides of a story.
He's a YouTube journalist. Like, what more could you possibly ask for?
Yeah, I guess.
You know, like
I suppose.
some dude.
It's more like a drama channel.
Yeah, 'cause
Anyway.
there's not actual news happening. Okay, yeah.
That's
We're
not
getting
the
off
episode.
topic.
This isn't
Yeah,
Hot Take Clickbait.
this is not Hot
Phil
Take
DeFranco
Clickbait.
episode, okay? This is A Brush with Mong, okay? Let's play text editor.
Yep.
All right, I like it. I like
3-player today.
Three
Yep.
player.
It is 3
So
player.
we're like playing this shit. Like, what's going down?
Okay, so you've never done these Let's modules, but what we're doing is we're building a module from the ground up.
Damn.
And every episode, what we do is we take that module, or we build a new module. In this case, we're on a second part because we didn't finish it.
Yeah.
But we build a module that's based on one of the previous modules we built in the series. So over the course of time, each of these modules will connect in some way with each other, and it'll produce some sort of mass setting. So if people want to play along with it, so be it, right? Or add it to their setting, or do whatever. But you'll build these connections, and you'll be able to create entire campaigns. Like no matter where you start from, if we produce enough of them, right? You can just keep going and going and going, and the whole setting will just come out. We thought it'd be pretty fun, and we've been having fun doing it. So, yeah, welcome to the party.
Thank you.
We would have had what's his name? I know his actual name, but what's his goofy name?
Dagwood.
Mr. Dagwood.
Mr. Dagwood.
Yeah, we would have Mr. Dagwood, but because I forgot that we were even doing a podcast, he's incapable of coming on Wednesdays. He comes on Tuesdays, though, and he should be here next week, in theory.
In theory.
In theory. Provided something doesn't happen. So we'll just go through a quick notes about what Mong has. Mong is a country that is known for having a series of khans. All right, so it has multiple warlords / clans. They're all loosely fighting each other and will always band together versus outsiders. Cannibal is illegal among the peasants, but it's run by ghouls. So the ghoul lords that run the country, they're allowed to eat people, but not the peasants. Peasants are called ignoble ghouls, and they are hunted down. This is because life is so long. There is a sort of death before dishonor code, I guess. Like your honor is more valuable than your life. They have no concern for human life, in the same kind of vein as like a Japanese aristocracy. You know, this is not a good country. This is a pretty evil country.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we're going for.
It's quite brutal,
Yeah,
as you can see.
so Bushido, but instead of like committing seppuku, harikari, or whatever you want to call it, they just get eaten.
So you'd say there was a lot of Wong doing in this country.
That's right.
Oh.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. The Mong do not take failure lightly. Failure result in an all-out force. So if they fail, they double down. They have to double down. Like, because if you lose face, you lose honor, and if you lose honor, that's your opponents will come and eat you. So
Yeah.
it's pretty dog eat
Wow,
dog.
that
right?
is pretty brutal.
Literally.
Yeah. Morality is subjective. Even the worst people have value in Mong. So it's like, if you're a horrible, hideous person and you're a moral reprobate anywhere else, Mong will be like, yeah, well, you're useful here. We can find a place for you in Mong. Slaves they have slaves and slavery. But slaves can distinguish themselves and become vassals of the Khan, so they can become samurai or whatever you want to call it. They're just called vassals.
Yeah.
In a sort of Mongolian kind of way, all the Khans seem to love riding animals, like all of the clans. The Khan clans do, and most of their clan distinction comes from what kind of animal they ride. Perhaps just culturally, it's like, oh, this is how we distinguish ourselves. We found a new, interesting riding animal. Also, the Khans of Mong do not like powerful, immortal undead, like vampires and liches. These are huge threats to their sovereignty, and they don't like that at all. So the plot, quote plot, the barrier lines that come with this campaign are the following. So your players, they're sort of minding their business or doing whatever they do or coming off of whatever adventure or in the middle of an adventure already. Who knows? Whatever. The GM has decided he is going to enact the Khans of Mong storyline, a brush with Mong.
Here we go.
So the plot, the barrier line starts at a climax. The first thing is it starts at a 10. So this is the climax. And so the system we use here, just so you don't know, in case you don't know, is 1 to 10 is sort of the level of intensity of the session. So like, a climax is usually a 10, and just like everybody sitting around solving a puzzle fairly silently is like a 1, or like a lull in the action. So you sort of sketch a line, and so you can see how the sketch might work. So the plot line goes as follows: raiders will attack you in the night with ghouls, okay, and they're coming to get you, all right, and you may succeed against them or you may fail, okay. So the success route.
Assuming you defeat the ghouls.
Yeah, assuming you defeat the ghouls. The ghouls will continue to attack constantly in increasing numbers and ferocity until the Khan gets killed and the ghoul attacks stop. So like you can ignore the problem. Assuming you ignore the problem after you're attacked and you've won the battle, right? Eventually just constantly fighting off these ghouls over the course of the rest of various sessions and other sessions, the Khan will just die. Like they'll kill the Khan that sent these ghouls after you.
They'll lose enough face that they'll just get run over.
Yeah. So you can win just by ignoring the problem, as long as you keep living. But if you ever get captured, then it becomes different. So you could also do the conquest route, which is like you don't ignore the problem. You're like, no, this is bullshit. We're not gonna let this go to 11, right? So you have to figure out who sent the attack, what happened. How. So this is where, like, it goes from a climax to a huge dip, right? It's like someone decided to attack us. We fended them off, but I don't know if we can fend off a bunch of other ones. We need to figure out who's doing this. And so we have the Khan listed here. Her name is Ghizza Flameghost, and we'll talk about her later. So yeah. You realize, like anybody who has a history check or anything like that will realize that the Khans will constantly keep attacking. Like, this is not going to stop. So you have to stop them first. You have to enter into the province and put an end to the Khan. And so you have to get into Mong, sneak in or whatever, bust into the castle, take down the Khan, and escape Mong. So once again, this one just goes up. It goes from a 10 to down to a 2, and it a rising action until the climax when you're fighting the Khan Ghizza. You fight Ghizza herself, and then you escape Mong at a 7. Because whatever rivals and or political upstarts will send a token force to defeat you, and if you can get away from the token force, you win. Right? Because they're like, oh, we don't really care. You really did us a service, and we're not going to put that much energy into it, because if we did, then we'd have to keep going, and it'll kill us too. Anybody who slew the Khan, well, come on. Yeah, we're not going to try, and then we can say, oh, we didn't even bother. Well, it's not our honor that was on the line. She was a failure. We don't care.
Yep.
So, if you get captured, though, the story branches into a second path. So it goes into another idea. So you have to suffer the slave pits, which allows you to figure out how to escape, who to talk to raise your clout amongst the nobility. So we split up the party In this case, it's like tough guys will dig holes, pretty ones are servants of the nobility, and smart ones become scribes. One of the concepts we thought of, and I don't think we really wrote it down, was this was supposed to be kind of a sort of a brutal place. Like this session was supposed to sort of be. It wasn't like cartoonishly evil. This is like no. These guys are pretty down to earth and how savage and not very nice they are.
Yeah.
You know, this is not good. They're like sort of vile kind of stuff.
You don't want to be here on this side of the line.
So assuming the PCs don't just escape, right? Like they might not have the kills or might not have the skills. They can do the social route here. Like if they just escape, they go into the conquest route or whatever, or they figure something else out, right? But like assuming they don't, they can get an audience with the Khan. PCs can make decisions on how to present themselves to the Khan, and you deal with the seneschals. Like eventually the Khan will like, hey, you know, the Khan wishes to see you, da da da, and these seneschals will basically try. One of them, one is bad at his job. One knows what the Khan likes but hates you, and one likes you but doesn't really have any insight on the Khan's tastes. So they'll just do whatever, right? But like, and so you have these three people who are giving you, and they're all charismatic. Like they're all good at convincing you, or in theory, convincing you of what's good and what's not. So it's up to the player to sort of figure out who's who in some way. Like, you know, try to figure out where their slip-ups come from and sort of change their mind. Anyway, you're supposed to do that. That's where that is, and that's sort of the intensity of that comes from you realizing that some of them are against you. Discussion with the Khan. Eventually, you come to the Khan herself, and she will basically talk to you, and she'll test you and challenge you based on whatever you did to impress yourself, right? And depending on how well you did in the audience, like with the seneschals, like how well you present yourself, she'll make the challenges less difficult because she just likes you. Yeah. And if you fail it, you go back to the slave pits, and we go back to section 1 or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you impress the Khan enough, you can negotiate your freedom and either become vassals of the Khan, or she'll just set you free. She'll be like, oh, okay, well, have a great day, guys. Sorry for bothering you. And then you go on. So, to the Khan. Because she's kind of the pinnacle character. She sort of establishes... we produced her to establish sort of what Flameghost, I guess, which is the name of the province, what these people are like, or sort of what the baseline is. Mm-hmm. And so we'll go through her. So her family comes from she has a lineage from fire elementals. So she's sort of, she has blood of flame elementals in her. She can evoke flame, a flame anima, and her particular one is a fiery gaze. If she stares at you long enough or stares at something long enough, the temperature will rise in it to the point where it will eventually burst into flames or just boil or melt.
Holy fuck.
So, yeah.
No.
This is not a secret. So
Okay, so people know about this and it's horrifying.
That's one of her things, right? She has enormous dogs, like horse-sized dogs. She calls them puppies, and she names them accordingly. Like, she names them cute names. She likes to go riding every day, and her clan is known for riding these dogs, and her banner is a flaming dog. So, the banner of Flameghost is flaming dogs, obviously. Her weapon of choice is a wizardly staff, because she's a powerful magical user with probably a fire theme. And she heavily values arcane knowledge, so if you have any of that, well, it might be a good way to talk there. One of her secrets that's sort of not available to the party is that she seeks lichdom. She wants to be a powerful undead lord. She will not advertise this, but will work with PCs towards this end. So if you have any, if she's like, oh yeah, you guys like to adventure and stuff and do things on the sly, well, maybe I'll help you out there, you know? So, yeah. She wants a lichdom for vain reasons, because she doesn't like biological functions. She thinks that they are distasteful. So removing them completely is what her goals are. So yes, to extend on that, she hates being seen eating, drinking, or doing anything intimate. Hates being in a position of weakness, will cover her mouth when eating, will only sip small sips, etc. So she's always like, ooh, you know. She's a germaphobe. She has cleaners that will cleanse everything. And she disinfects things with her fire gaze often. She likes sweets. She likes hard candies. And she will always offer candies to others, but she will never eat in front of other people. And she loves water and swimming. She will often go swimming with an escort. Escort must look away when she is doing so. Swimming is an intimate affair for her. She likes to heat the water. There are springs that she goes out, and they become hot when she's there. So they don't have hot springs there, but she'll make hot springs. She's got fire eyes. So she's a very formal lady. She wears formal attire. She always has a pipe in her hand, and she smokes it all the time. This is one of her few things she does that is not yet considered intimate. This would also be, we sort of discussed it last time, that this could probably be the tell for the fire eyes if the PCs don't talk to anybody about it. Like, she could just, like, light her pipe with a stare and start looking. And, yeah. And her attack of choice is summon fire elementals. And then she is also martially trained, but she's not, like, a super soldier. She always has an honor guard of roughly 10 guards of court wizards, priests, etc. So this is no, walk in the park. This is probably a campaign for a higher level party. You can probably dumb it down, but we don't recommend it because this is not really supposed to be that kind of thing. This is the Khans of Mong decided to pick up a bunch of dudes, and they didn't realize that these dudes are kind of badass. And if they happen to be stumblefucks and stumblefuck their way, or they're social badasses, then they got to go through certain chains. So what this episode is doing, now that we're 15 minutes in, and we've got back up to date, we're gonna put. We have about 9 to 10 more PCs that we kind of want to flesh the world out with, flesh this session out with. So, that's probably what we're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
We figured there'd be about 2, 3, 4, 5 in the slave pits, and then 4 in the palace. And then time permitting, we might add 1 or 2 more. And I guess the treasure would be whatever the GM, like if we wanted to do treasure or something at the end, we could probably think of that. But the treasure would probably be just whatever the PCs are kind of looking for within reason, based on how impressed the Khan is with them. Or, how dead the Khan is and where they could find the treasure room or not. Like where the treasury is.
Yeah.
So, has anybody thought of anything for this part of the show? Like for this episode? I'm looking at you, the Spartan. Because I certainly didn't. I actually purposely chose not to. I was like, oh, maybe I should think of some stuff. And I'm like, no, that's no good. I'm not just going to sit there and write down all my new ideas that I made up during the week. But did you at all?
A little bit.
Okay, well, let's start that. From where? Slave pits or palace? What do you think?
Well, I started in the slave pits.
Okay.
There's probably going to be a slave, whoever runs the place. Right?
Slave master?
Slave master, yeah.
All right. What's the slave master like? And we'll give him a name based on what you put him, unless you gave him a name already.
No, I didn't think that far ahead. I just thought general who would be there.
Okay, so there's going to be a slave master. We don't know anything about him?
Not yet.
Okay, what else? Anybody else that you think should be there?
Well, there's probably somebody, like, somebody who's been there for a while. Kind of has a lay of the land.
Like a permanent resident? Let's say, the slave lifer? The eternal slave? Alright.
That works.
Okay, any other ones?
Well, not too much more for the slave pits. There's probably a captain of the guard in the palace, though.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Guard captain. Okay.
Ooh. Oh, I got an idea for the slave master.
Okay.
Something along the lines of the torture from Overlord.
Oh God. Okay, so
that'd be fun.
So, like a really gross sadist? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, it sounds that way.
A disgusting sadist, feared for his
cruelty.
Yeah, I guess his cruelty, right? Like feared for his cruelty, or his meticulous cruelty.
Because you can't make it an easy way out. Like, the dude isn't gonna be like, "Oh yeah, you're neat." He's gonna be there for a reason.
Bloated body, ugly of face, greasy hair. Feared for his meticulous cruelty. Very much enjoys his work. Is there anything that the slave master might have that makes his power sort of like absolute? Like, why hasn't anyone just like stabbed this asshole? Does he keep guards? What are we talking about here? Or is he just like fucking scary, or what?
It's probably a good bit of it runs on the fear.
Oh yeah.
Because, but maybe he has some sort of, thing.
That like enhances it.
Yeah, or that gives him like protection or something.
Okay. What do you think, Doctor?
Yes.
Something that enhances. What if he had something that like enhanced his fear, his ability to scare people? What do you think that would be? We don't have a name for the slave master yet, but like this is what we've got so far. If you can see.
Delicious tea.
A whip that makes you scream as loud as possible every time you're hit with it. So
Yeah.
It seems like people are always in searing pain, even if it doesn't hurt that much.
Oh, okay.
So it always sounds like he's killing people with it.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Wields of the screaming whip. Okay, so like this whip will like forces those hit to scream at maximum volume for as much as their lungs can endure. Once. And this, that makes everybody else, pretty rough.
That'd be intimidating.
That'd be pretty spooky. So so he'll intimidate people with that. Let's add something. Well, he's really big, right? Like he's big and greasy and brutal. So let's, tough in a fight and like brutishly forceful. What do you think? Yes? No? So this is like a character that sort of fights alone. It's not like a guy who has guards with him. He's never going to scream guards. He's just going to be like, oh, is this how it's going to be? You know, that kind of thing. Where you think you're dealing with actually, why don't we do this? Seems squeamish and almost effeminate socially until provoked alone. Then he changes.
Oh.
So yeah, I think effeminate is effeminate, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Oh, well, let's find out.
My English is worse than your English,
EFF,
so.
okay. And then squeamish is WEA. Okay, great. Or UEA. So this seems pretty good. Let's give this guy a name. So we need a name that evokes... Okay, so the name should evoke a feeling that this is a weak character. So like... almost like it might sound like the word little, maybe? Like, but maybe some sort of hint of just like savageness. So like maybe like a first name like, you know, Splittelson or something like that, like a name like that, and then a last name of like Krum or something like that, like Splittelson Krum. This is just words. These are sounds, right? But like something that has maybe not Krum. It's like Gourd.
Gourd?
Like Gourd sounds like a good name. Like it kind of sounds fat and gross.
Mm.
Klaus Turvish.
Glaus Turvish. Glaus is a really good one. I'm gonna go with Glaus.
I don't even know how to spell that.
It's. Crew.
So I think it's something like almost effeminate, right? Like
Almost
I think we need
effeminate?
something effeminate because glaus is like that's
That's the meaty bit.
that's the meaty one, right? So if we can get
okay,
a name
something feminine.
like the what's coming to mind is like Tittlin.
Tittlin?
Tittlin Glaus. What do you guys think? If you guys don't think that the feminine sounding name is a good idea, we can always just go with.
I like the effeminate thing, but
do.
I'm not too sure about Tittlin.
Piddlin.
Piddlin?
Pillatin. Maybe start with a P. I like the idea of like piddle because it sounds like piddly and little and.
Hmm.
And then you could be like referred to as like Lord Piddle
All right. Yeah, I can see that.
or Piddless.
I'm fine with that. What do you think?
Ooh, Piddless. Because that almost sounds like pitiless, and that's like the hint.
Yeah.
Pitiless Glaus.
I like
What do
that.
you guys think?
Yeah.
Piddle. Pitiless Glaus, the slave master. Disgusting sadist, bloated body, ugly face, greasy hair, feared for his meticulous cruelty. Seems squeamish and almost effeminate. And socially awkward. Until provoked alone. Then he changes into an intense, we'll go with like, overbearing figure almost. Like, what would be the word? Imposing figure?
Yeah, I think imposing works better.
Ogre-like. Figure. Tough in a fight and brutishly forceful. Wields the screaming wit and forces those hit to scream at maximum volume for as much as their lungs can endure at once. So, like, whatever system you put that in, you can figure that out. It might be like if it was a 5th edition, you might be giving someone like a stun or a dazed or something like that for like one turn.
Yeah.
When they're hit, which is actually pretty rough, but whatever, because they're so busy screaming, like maybe or whatever. Whatever one that only forces them, they have to do a move action or something. They can only move, like, because you can't attack when you're screaming at the top of your lungs. So who knows? Maybe not. I don't know. Or just disadvantage on attacks might be. In cast, you could literally make it so that they swoon and have to just sit there screaming
For a round?
for a round.
Yeah.
Like that's. However you want to do that, you could find ways to do it in any system.
I don't think socially awkward is like the right term for what I have, like
In
like
your head?
yeah, for what I have.
Okay, what do you
It
think?
would be like almost the butt of everyone's jokes, but almost like a really twisted like left hand sort of thing. It's like I'm presenting you with a face where like I'm kind of weird and stuff, but it's so you let your guard down and I can take things from you.
Yeah.
Like this is somebody who rules over people.
Yeah.
So like there's always an end, right? So like I like the effeminate thing, but I find that there's got to be a purpose for it, like dragging somebody in. So if we're gonna be like socially awkward or a little bit weird, why not be the butt of the joke just to keep dragging people into it?
So we got squeamish and socially awkward, but you don't like that. Do you like effeminate?
I
Yeah.
do like the effeminate. Like for me, like people that are always sophisticated and graceful and have poise, there's like everything that you read, like a lot of like even Freud would be like people that are the better you are, the more you know evil.
Yeah.
So the more composed you are, like the crazier that thing is behind that composure. So when you break it, that's what we get. But the more composed and like the more you're always manipulating, the more you're driving yourself crazy and like driving into that ogre-like force.
Okay.
So then it's surprising, right? Because people, they're like, oh, this guy's kind of like weird. Like people make fun of him.
So
like,
instead of awkward, he'd be very refined, kind of thing.
like very, like he's graceful being made fun of. But it's for an end.
Yeah.
But it drives him crazy. And like maybe you can poke at that composure a little bit, but like it would be a mistake, obviously, to poke at that composure.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you get little glimpses of it if you like push him.
You notice the cracks start
Yes.
forming in
So
the
then-
mask. Okay.
And then even if you crack it early, like holy man, like what's gonna happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's like this, yeah, there might be, you know, if the PCs want the hint or the other players want the hint, like there could be like a glint. Like that's sort of just like, somebody cracks a joke and he just like turns his head. Like almost like Bolo, like if you've ever seen Bloodsport, like that Bolo Young, like that sort of that crazy eye look.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, he'll be like, oh, no, oh, bye, what is it? And then someone's just like, what a prick. And he just like stops and it goes dead silent and just looks. Like just stares at you blankly and everyone's just like, oh, sir. He's like, oh, nothing. Ah! And just sort of like tiptoes away. Kind of like,
I love it.
now I'm
It's
picturing
great.
like, have you ever seen like Baron Harkonnen from like the Dune series? Like he's like a fat guy on lifters and he walks real like.
Oh my god, no!
As it-
That
as
sounds
it-
amazing.
Well, yeah, like he's so fat that he can't carry his own weight. So it's a sci-fi setting. So they have like lifters, like they have like
Oh.
rotary lifters to hold him up, So he walks like he's like lighter than air.
Oh my god!
And he's like enormous, and so like all I can picture is like a really light-footed kind of guy like this, and then it's just like you don't even realize how heavy this person is, like how much presence they have, because they sort of hide their presence until you've pissed them off, and then you just realize that this is like a 6'6", like a 6-foot guy who's 5 feet wide, and he carries that weight as if he doesn't have any.
it. Yeah.
And you don't realize it until he just sort of looks at you and you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. That's
Alright.
a landmine.
Hey,
Nani?
Slave Lord Pitiless Goss. Yeah, I think we've nailed it on him. I like this guy. I like him. He's real good. It's top notch. Okay, so we need a friendly character next. The Eternal Slave. What are we thinking?
I'm thinking kind of like the wirely, like prospector kind of deal.
Hello, friend.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
so
kind of
a
slightly insane.
Roshi,
yeah.
basically Roshi, but like in a slave thing. You know, the best part about breaking rocks is sitting behind the young ladies. And then like through some of the bullshit, he actually like gives you good things. Like, oh man, that Glaus guy's fucking crazy. Don't fuck with him.
Okay. So, yeah, an ever lighthearted.
Isn't Ian hearted?
Okay, an ever lighthearted character who's consistently positive and removed from reality.
There we go. Yeah, that's a really like spacey.
Spacey, good, and yeah, mentally removed.
Yeah, they treat you real
Demeanor.
good down here. You just break some rocks. And...
No, man, you can't ask for a better life than this. You're guaranteed work, you're guaranteed food, and all the tang you can find. It's like, how much tang have you ever find? None.
I just look at it.
I just
pretty good from
enjoy
here.
the view.
But yeah, this would be the guy who can he's the guy in the know, right? This is the, Yeah, this would be the guy that like people will latch onto just because his just positive demeanor is gonna automatically get people interested in what he has to say. Like, that's how in my experience PCs have worked. You introduce this character to him, everyone's just gonna be like, yeah, let's all be friends with this guy. This guy's gonna show us all this cool stuff, and this would be the guy that lures that hooks players into like hilarious hijinks in the slave pits, like Or like, hey, you want to sneak out and go see something crazy? and like take you out to see the Khan and things like that. Like, stuff.
So like gets caught sometimes. The Khan's just like, oh, you.
Dead. No way.
It's like a little sitcom. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever the player,
yeah.
whatever the GM sort of figures that might be okay, or advances his sort of like his curve, the way that he's trying to form the curve. This would be your means. Like the eternal slave is gonna be your guy.
What if he's not actually a slave?
Oh,
like
or
he's there. He is a slave, but he's actually a vassal.
Or yeah, that could be.
He's just mentally removed. It's like, this is great, free food, everything, and everybody's just like, why are you here?
Or he's distinguished himself so many times in so many different ways, but he always refuses.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
And they just treat him better, so he's just always positive, and it secretly boosts everybody's morale. And only one guy really knows about it, and they're like, "That's why we gotta keep him there." Like, I know you guys don't listen to me about this, but like, telling you,
he's a
remove that
morale
guy,
boost.
it's just gonna be crappy. Look at all the other slave pits. You think they've got like the work hard and the dedication?
They don't got this guy.
They don't got this guy.
This guy always makes it real good. All right. Yeah.
Keeps the revolts low.
It secretly drives Glaus insane. Just like, I can't break him, man. Like, it's just. Ooh. But he's got to be nice to him because he's secretly a vessel.
Yeah, excellent jack of all trades. Character that has distinguished themselves.
Well, you want to go see the Khan? Well, here, I can probably
He's
help you out with that.
basically, he's like a savant.
Yeah.
Like, he's just.
Has always refused to leave the slave pits.
He has old man strength.
Old man strength.
Like, make it like the Roshi body, you know? Like, when he's all
scrawny
old.
The slave pits
he's gonna be
slash dorms.
I was thinking somebody like
slash
scrawny
pleasure
and
palace.
things, but probably has
No
like
way,
the
man.
fucking.
He's been here for a long time. Like, he's
Well,
breaking
he's not,
rocks
like-
and stuff.
He's not weak, but I wouldn't. I don't know.
That's hard labor. That's
Yeah.
way more hard labor than everybody. You don't get coffee breaks or lunch, man. Like,
Okay.
you're a slave. You're
That's-
doing this all the time.
That's fair.
People
That's fair.
drop dead before they even get freedom in this place. I'm assuming. Like, this dude's just like 2 pickaxes, boom, work's done. So like, man, you'd be really good at crushing heads. Like, yeah, but I like making friends, you know?
So much nicer just to talk to people.
I've never really been into cracking skulls. I got a cut on my finger once and I passed out.
And that nice Mr. Glaus, he came over, gave me a band-aid. It's great. It's a great guy. Just don't mess with him.
You know what? Gets along extremely well with Glaus. Like, he never says anything bad about Glaus. He's just like, no, Glaus is a really nice guy. Super nice.
You know, sometimes you're just following orders. It's like, ooh. Ooh. Don't like where that's going.
Leeway with... Yeah. Leeway within the pits. Is considered
A positive morale boost.
a de facto vassal
There we go, yeah.
of the Khan, whose true power is to increase morale in the pits. and allowing slaves to distinguish themselves better.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good one.
He just does it. It's like, no, that's why they leave him there. It's like, no, we don't need slaves. If people can, like, become loyal to the Khan, like... Right? Increases in allowing slaves to distinguish themselves better.
I like him.
A lot of leeway is considered defective vessel of the Khan. What else do I want to say? I want to say one more thing. Yeah, knows pretty much everything. About the inner workings of the pits, pleasure palaces, and dorms. So all this would be like, whatever kind of party you are, like the eternal slave will always kind of be there. He'll pop in, he can come say hi to people, you know, oh, today I'm gonna crush rocks. And then the slavers will be like, yeah, I guess okay, that's fine.
If you want to do that,
That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. And everyone's like, why does he get to move around? It's like, well, he's been here long enough. Kind of knows how to do all of the things.
Yeah, he's.
You know, who are we to stop? You're the slave masters. Oh yeah, fair enough. Well, we're not gonna stop him. Okay, so what are we gonna call this guy? What's his name?
Never been good with names.
Okay, so the first name that came to mind was something like Bingy Gammonbear. I really like the idea of Gammonbear
Camembert?
because it sounds like Camembert, which is like a cheese.
Gorham Fizzlebeard.
Fizzlebeard.
I like the word. I like Creely.
Creely?
Gorham
Creely. That's
yeah.
really good. I like that one. Gorham Creely. We're not gonna put sir. I'm Gorham.
The table's on fire.
Yeah, I noticed.
Just kidding.
Okay, so yeah, this is
Smells real interesting. Fire.
hard to spell this spell wrong here. What the hell's going on? Heated. Get out of here.
Get
Spell
out of
check.
here.
Okay, so yeah, we got the Slave Master, we got Gorham Creely. Who else we got here?
The escapists.
The Escapists? What are these?
They're trying to always make us. They're like the fish from Finding Nemo. They always have a plan, and they execute, but they don't have another plan past that plan. So they're always trying to build things together, and they'll try to rope you in, and like be like, hey man,
This-
man,
yeah,
just
they
come
might
here.
be how you
want to
get
get
out."
out of here. Like we'll get you out of here. But they like never
Okay, let's
really.
make them dumb.
Yeah.
Like they are morbidly incompetent. Like they have like they always have like 60% of the plan, and they can always kind of get 60% of the way in. Like they can basically and
You can get to the wall, but you forget the rope.
yeah, or something stupid. Like they always fuck it up.
If you
Yeah.
make bad rolls, they sell you out, and that's why there's only those dudes always trying to escape, and nobody works with them. Like it's a secret little red flag that like people kind of know about, but you wouldn't know about being new.
And you can find like you can help them out. Like one of the ways to escape might be just to help them out and like actually and this would be the challenge, right? The challenge would be to deal with their gross incompetence.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to double check and double check. Make sure that like if you have them doing anything, you have to make sure that they did it before executing because they might not. There's like I said, there's 50-50 on almost everything that they have to do, whether they forgot or they're just, oh, well, something happened and I thought this would be good enough, It's like we told you to get silk rope and you brought us woven corn thread. Like, what are you doing? This is not gonna hold a person. It's like, well, it's braided. That's real strong. Like, no, it's no good.
Dennis, what do you got? Oh, I just spent all afternoon making shivs. We're not even planning to fight anyone. Everybody already has at
I
least
just
2
figured
shivs.
we need shivs.
They're good for digging. They're good for eating.
I
You
like
can't
shit.
dig
Stabbing?
shit with
Yeah,
a
okay.
shiv.
All right. Grossly incompetent
Jim, how about you? Oh, I just hung out with Tina all day.
Slaves.
You know,
You were
Mong was
supposed to
right.
drive
If you
the
do
cars.
sit at the back, you do get the best view. It's like, Emerson, fuck, man! You're supposed to do this shit!
That Creeley guy, he's real smart.
You know, I think I might just work really hard and, you know, try to escape the good way. It's like, dude, we were gonna do this now.
They hate Creeley.
They hate Creeley?
They
They
hate
hate
Creeley.
Creeley.
Why do they
him.
hate Creeley?
Why do they hate
Yeah.
Creeley? Because Creeley always wants to stay.
Okay.
Just treats them like the Duke boys, basically. It's like all of them Duke boys at it again. Trying to escape.
Alright.
They were on wall duty, so you never
Creeley
know.
doesn't know what's going on. He always gets to say he gets special treatment. He's special. What's going on? We're not special. We always get the short end of the stick. We're always in the shitter. We gotta clean the shitter. He's always shitting in the
They're
shitter.
always the victims of
Yeah.
everything.
There you go.
Always the victims.
victims.
Oh god, here we go.
Never take responsibility.
For
Will
failures.
sell everybody out. Alright. I like how it goes with hate Creeley. We'll put that in brackets. He's special and gets better treatment than them.
Well, he
So
does.
these guys are like consistently negative, whereas Creeley is like a positive character. So these guys are always like, "This is bullshit. You guys are stupid." You know, these are the guys who have hot ninja moves, right? Like they.
God. They're high school teens.
If it wasn't for like my bum hip, I would have been out of here ages ago. So now we got to come up with a plan. You know, if you losers can figure something out, we'll take your ideas, but really we're just having you along because you guys can lift heavy things. You know, shit like that. Like these guys are trashed here.
They're the high school fucking football team, essentially. Fuck those nerds.
Always the victims. Never take response. Sell everybody out. Basically, 60% of all their plans are, are ruined by incompetence. Incompetence. What else? Stupidity. Oh wow, I can't even spell incompetence. I think it's an E. Oh wow, that's an R.
And miscommunication.
Incompetence, stupidity, selfishness, or miscommunications.
They're giving out extra food at the food bank.
Dude, I'm not gonna miss that. It's like, you were supposed to do a thing. It's like, but it's not my fault. They had special access.
They were giving out pumpkin pie today.
Yeah,
I
had to get my fucking
told
pie.
Ted I'd get his share for him if he went and did the thing that I was supposed to do. Like I thought that was the way
I
that it was
did
gonna
that,
go.
and he didn't show, so I hit his portion too.
What a dick! He was like,
What
you
an
had to do
ass.
his
Like, this
thing
is-
and your thing. That's why it wasn't. Ah!
Yeah, so yeah, this would be, these guys, the one thing they do is they can always come up with a plan to escape that may work. The problem is they will always self-defeat themselves. So like the party or the player who interjects himself with this group has to overcome their incompetence to get their plans to work.
Alright.
Yeah. I think that's pretty good. Like you can come up with names on your own. Like this is a group of people, so think of the people that you don't really like from your past. Give those first names to them, and you don't really have to worry about last names.
There you
That'll
go.
work.
Have you ever seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? I just think Charlie
I've-
Mack and Dennis right away.
It
Yeah,
sounds really familiar.
Charlie
It's
Mack and
so
Dennis, like Jerry Seinfeld, like the cast of Seinfeld and the cast of Always Sunny. If you put them all together and you told them they have to escape from a
Oh,
slave
yeah.
pit.
I know it's funny. It's
Yeah.
always sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's like
It's
beautiful show.
amazing. It's so good.
Wow, what's going on here? Get some clip art.
You're bringing the clip art back.
Yeah, we need to bring it back. We need lots of it. Okay, who else should be in the slave pits? We don't. It doesn't have to necessarily be the pits either. It could be like the pleasure palaces.
Yeah, we
or,
got
like,
a lot of happy things going on now. Like we did one dark and two light.
Yeah, so I'm just going up to the sort of.
One dark, one light, and one moronic.
Yeah, so tell
be
them
fair.
That gives you good feels, right?
Pretty
Not
ones
bad
are
feels.
servants of the
Well, when
nobility,
they fuck
and smart
up, you
ones are
feel
tutors.
pretty
So, like,
stupid for trusting them.
So servants could mean anything from like, you work in the kitchens or something like that. So maybe we need somebody who's just someone who works with
Maybe
the
somebody who runs the
cleaner
kitchen?
aspects, like or runs a household, like a butler.
I'm the kitchens in the pits. Like, you can get extra. They'll sneak you extra rations if you get on their good side.
Okay. Or maybe there's a massive like a super kitchen in the city for like that will deal with both like lots of the nobility, like it'll cook for the nobility and it'll cook for the slaves. So there's like a kitchen master.
Okay.
There's like a top chef.
Gordon Ramsay, but a big woman.
A big
They just call her Mama.
Big Mama.
Big Mama. She's responsible for handing out like dealing with all that shit and like getting all the fucking good meals and stuff, and then dealing with all the slaves and kind of like she kind of knows like who the families are and stuff, and is like, well, like these slave children have just kind of come here, like slide a little extra rations their way, But then the kind of thing is like the twist is she's like more Godfather like than anything.
Yeah.
She's like she controls your food supply. So she'll do nice things for you and everything, but as soon as you start kind of like crossing
Stepping
her or
the
going the
toes.
wrong way or like start like messing things up in the kitchen and she starts getting like flack for it, then you start to starve. Or things start to not go your way, or you get like the worst dishes possible and they like try to make you sick. That's what I'm thinking.
That's pretty good. I like it.
Bourbon Remy. I love that name. She's the only person with access to alcohol because she uses it to cook. So
Yeah.
she uses
She
that
can
like
slip
as,
a little bit on the
she
side.
uses that a little bit as like the black market thing, and people are kind of like, why is she so big? When like all the slaves are kind of like working hard, and, like they're kind of skinnier framed and stuff. Like
So she's a slave too,
She's
or like
she's kind of like.
I
If
wouldn't say
there's,
she's
if
a
there's
slave.
special vassals, like people that have like pseudo vassal status, I would say she has like a pseudo vassal status. She's been around. She got really good at cooking. She got like kind of creative with it. People kind of like higher up started to take notice of her ability and her talent and like how good her presentation was versus just kind of what the food was going out for before. And they're like, hey, this is now like a status thing. Like we can get
I'd say she's an actual vassal.
yeah,
She doesn't sound like the kind of person
vassal
who
of the
would
kitchens.
stay a slave.
Maybe she really likes what she does. And she
Well,
likes
yeah,
being
but
a
she
mama.
can do that.
Well, she can.
She just get put in charge of the kitchen. Like, I can
So-
see her starting as a cook.
So
and
where
then
what
she distinguishes
what's the
herself as that.
responsibility of the kitchen that she's in then?
What handles at least the food for the slaves.
Well, I think we said
And,
it was
yeah,
like she
a
probably
super
handles
kitchen
the
type of
soup
thing.
for the food for the slaves and for various like nobles in the court and things like that. Like she
Yeah.
does both. She's the head
Yeah.
mistress of the kitchen, right? So she's the one who, if you're a good slave who does good work, she can get you like noble food. Like she can get you a cooked ham brought to your section. Like she can make sure, oh, don't worry, this was leftovers, right? Like she'll get you leftovers that you wouldn't be able to eat because you're eating slave slop.
Yeah.
But you treat mama nice. You treat the cook mistress nice, and you'll be good. You cross her and her gang, and she will
branches out.
She will starve you.
You branch out to the
You'll
house
be eating
cleaning.
cockroaches for the rest of your life.
You branch out to
Oh,
the house
God.
cleaning staff and stuff, and then like pick up the scraps and stuff, and that's kind of like her little economy. She like takes half-empty bottles of like sake that like nobles just pass out and do whatever, and they don't really care. And she kind of pours them in one big bottle and reseals them, and that's like her little thing.
So she runs the black market essentially.
She's black market mama.
Black market
like Gordon
mama.
Ramsay black market mama.
Oh.
Like this squid is so undercooked, it's telling SpongeBob to fuck off. Like that's my favorite Gordon Ramsay meme. I love that.
I don't think I've ever heard that one before. I've heard a lot
There's
of Gordon Ramsay
there's
ones.
a bunch of
There's-
them. That one's
they're
my.
some of them are pretty primo, but never heard one about SpongeBob before.
I actually think it's one that he uses in the show too. Like I don't think that's a made up one or anything
Is
like
that
that.
Hell's Kitchen?
Yeah, I think he uses that in Hell's Kitchen. I don't know. Like,
Jesus.
correct me if I'm wrong, but man, that Gordon Ramsay is fantastic.
Gordon Ramsay's great. He's insane, but he's great.
So yeah, God runs the kitchen, a vegetable in the kitchen who flexes her power over your meals to get what she wants. Runs a kitchen black market with a gang of cooks. Do as she asks as you gain her favor and find meals. Cross her and it's shit and cockroaches for your dinners.
Yeah.
There we go. Bourbon Remy.
Brutally oppressive to her kitchen subordinates. But they don't mind. It makes a good kitchen.
And they're compensated.
Yeah.
They get
take-
good compensation.
Yeah.
She demands perfection, but she always pays back in kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You work for me. You got favors with Mama.
Yeah, Mama looks after you.
Mama looks after you.
Cross Mama. Oh, it ain't gonna end well.
Yeah. You definitely encounter her if like you're good at cooking or you say you're good at cooking and you end up like a slave who cooks. You're gonna end up with the cook mistress. Also, probably if you're like, she probably dabbles in a lot of the extra areas. So the affairs of any and all servants.
So she'd be the one you'd talk to if you were distinguishing yourself as a servant type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. We got Crazy Creedy for the mines. So we probably need somebody for like a tutorship. Like a doctor, teacher, whatever.
Dabbles in the affairs of any and all servants outside the pits. And the dorms. We'll call it tutors. Because she doesn't deal with the tutors.
No.
But that brings us to the next question.
Who does?
does? I like the idea of like a really old, because we've got like this really vibrant cook master, right?
Yeah.
And then we also got this really vibrant, crazy dude, like super positive, super like oppressive, and then we also got like this sort of vicious kind of character. Like, why don't we just have like this super like low energy old guy who's just like barely understandable, but he's like a font of wisdom. He's like all hunchback, covered in I'm super old, I like books and I know everything about everything. Like he's like the head teacher of
Corvin Matthias.
Professor.
Professor Corvin Matthias.
There we go.
Arch professor.
Oh, yeah.
Corvin Matthias.
You're getting fancy with those now.
An ancient noble
That wasn't
professor
an invitation to get fancy.
who runs the tutor dorms.
Wish a couple of rings.
Okay, well, contain yourself.
Never.
His speech is mumbly and rambly.
Oh, I
But-
see you have the book of the great ghouls. Oh,
Mumbly,
sorry,
and
Corbin.
rambly.
What was
What
that?
did you say?
The great Khan, because I was just a young boy when the great Khan Empire went in. Corbin, can you
speak up?
He's got this little hearing horn, but it's like attached to his wrist beautifully. Like he's made it and designed it so he can be like, oh,
What did you
what's
say?
that? Oh, yes. And then he's got another one on his other hand that he uses to be like, oh, it's the great cataclysm, and it's that
So he doesn't
one's-
have to talk louder,
Yeah,
but it amplifies
It
his
just
voice?
kind of amplifies his voice. They sit nicely in the palms of his hands, and he's always kind of crunched over with his hands together, which is weird. But sometimes he like trips up, and you hear a metallic clank, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And he's got one big spectacle.
Oh, he's got it. Yeah?
Because the other one, when he was like sitting in the library, it was like this stupid thing that happened only to Corvin, right? Like just kind of bad luck, Corvin. But where he sat for 20 years, the sun kept hitting his eye in one place, and
He just never moved.
and he just never moved, right? He's just like, oh, my eye is really weird. But his, instead of being like, he overthinks things, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, wait, if my other eye is stronger than this eye, it'll compensate for what this one isn't doing. So he always kind of looks in with one eye, and he's always got one kind of squinted. And they're like, yeah, Corvin's a genius, but in a weird way. Instead of like moving, for example, or like putting on glasses, he just made one big eyepiece. And like zooms in like
Yeah. Give him absolute respect.
He's Corvin Matthias.
He's Corvin
like,
Matthias.
It's like Grandpa.
Grandpa Corvin.
Like, who's gonna be like, Grandpa, shut the fuck up. You don't know shit. He's like, oh, you kids these days.
Or he gets cataclysmically sad. Like when anybody makes fun of him, he's like, oh, okay, well, I guess I had some research to do. He's just like almost crying, like he's emotionally weak. Because he just studied all the time, right? He's not
Yeah.
like super socially there. He always rambles when he talks. He always assumes that people think that he's really interesting. But when you hurt his feelings, it's really down and like sad old man.
Aw.
Like we have all this brutality and stuff, but like what about just kind of poking your players like right where it hurts, you know?
Yeah,
if they're
just-
mean to Corbin,
Just jab a knife in them
Oh.
heartstrings.
okay. And he tries to be nice to you and like brings you a book. He's like, I really enjoyed this 80 years ago.
You may also enjoy it. Try to keep an open mind.
So he's a ghoul.
Is he?
Yeah, I called it an ancient ghoul noble professor. He might be like 400 or 500 years old. He's
Oh, I
just
like
like,
that.
and yeah, absolutely respects. You're brutally sad and depressed when attacked socially. If abused too much, there is a small group of people that will waylay you and feed you to Corbin.
But Corvin doesn't like eat the
He
people,
does
right?
not know this.
Corvin's got like an Estus flask on him because Corvin's teeth are like kind of old or jagged, and he's like, I much prefer just a small sip. With his shaky hands, sips at his little flask every now and then and tucks it into his robe and puts his hands neatly together and kind of slowly moseys on to whatever else he's gonna do. It's just this cute little old man, like,
Yeah.
cute little Corvin.
That's great. Yeah.
If abused too much, there is a small group of people that will waylay you at your weakest. and feed you to Corbin.
And the environment that you're in, people slowly start being passive aggressive towards you. Like they don't like when you mistreat good
Corbin.
old Corbin, right?
Grandpa Corbin.
So that's why they attack you when you're weakest. Like they'll go crazy when like they know you're down and out, but they'll slowly chip away at you like a mean girl, you know? It becomes like a weird hostile work environment.
Yeah.
People are shutting the blinds when you're trying to like read books and stuff, or like, oh no, we don't have that book. And you're like, I see it's right in that pile. They're like, nope, sorry, it's being checked out by somebody else.
But it's in the return pile.
Yep, sorry about that.
But
Have a nice day.
oh no.
And then Corbin comes over and gives you the book. He's trying to be nice to you. You haven't pushed him quite that far yet. He just thinks that maybe, being a slave can be very, very tough. I've been here a long time and I've seen many a slave.
They come and
They
go
come.
like whispers on the wind.
Speaking of whispers, have you read the book Whispers in Autotune?
It's a great book, very deep. May help you find yourself.
Just a book that's like got the vinyl things on it, and it's just like weird noise that comes out of it. And it's almost incoherent, and Corbin just sits there happily like, I really like this.
You gotta pay attention to all the little nuances.
to all the little nuances.
The whispers.
He's got like kind of a whistle on some of his S's because his teeth are kind of weird and jagged.
Alright, so what I got written here is an ancient ghoul noble professor who runs the tutor dorms of the school. His speech is mumbly and rambly, but when you are patient and attentive, he's the very definition of knowledge. Hard of hearing, with an ear horn, one poorish eye, one really good eye, one big spectacle. People give him absolute respect, and he loves to help new tutors and students. Gets brutally sad and depressed when attacked socially. If abused too much, the people of the dorms will become passive-aggressive towards you, and if persistent, will eventually waylay you at your weakest and feed you to Corbin. He does not necessarily know this is happening.
I like that. He wouldn't be happy if he knew that.
Like, well, that's not right.
Oh,
That's
they're
not
gone.
very-
But they were tasty.
They come and they go.
Because he's a ghoul, he knows that he eats people.
Yeah.
So he's not a nice guy, so... Well,
Well, he
maybe
is.
he would. Like, maybe if it's like, oh yeah, that was Billy who was real mean to you. It's like, oh, that's probably for the best. Like, and just like as if nothing happened.
The dark truth of being a vessel of knowledge is having to be around forever.
Okay, so I think that covers a good deal of what's going on in the slave pits. That's a pretty, that paints a pretty picture of what's happening there. So let's talk about the palace then. Like, we've touched a little bit on the palace because we got the cook mistress who kind of deals with a lot that's going on in the palace. And then maybe the arch professor is also part of the palace as well in his own way. So you come across these two because obviously Corbin is going to be teaching, like, not Corbin specifically, but like Corbin and any of his professors or tutors or whatever, which you may be a part of, slave tutors. They may be teaching the children of the nobility, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
Okay. And the cook mistress is, all the servants do what she wants. So it's like, if there are people that are gunning for this, that, and the other thing, like, oh yeah, this necklace that belongs to this noble woman or whatever, and there's somebody who's willing to pay a bounty, that necklace might go missing one day and end up in the hands of someone that's paying her. And the cook mistress is the godfather of these interactions, right? Because she controls all of the servants,
Yeah.
right?
And maybe somebody really bad on the household staff she didn't like just gets caught for it or has to take the brunt for it.
You can also take us in the darker direction where it's just like, sometimes certain people might want to experience another person in the kingdom or another person in the household or something, and they can pay the cook mistress and they might kidnap that person and do that, or bring that slave up from wherever that slave is, even if they would be normally untouched. Whatever. However vile you want to make this, you can go all the way. And she would be your method of making things real gross. Like nobody here is particularly good. The nicest people aren't necessarily good people. They're just nice.
Yeah.
So like even Corbin is probably not the nicest. Like not he's an evil person. He is a ghoul. He does eat people.
He's that banal kind of evil.
Yeah, like he's nice. He's just not good. Right? Like who knows what things, like we can't think of necessarily what he's doing that's particularly vicious or evil or whatever, but self-centered, maybe he has these insecurities, like in his own way, maybe he knows that's what, like this passive aggressiveness and all this whatever, like he doesn't know that like the details of what's going on, but he kind of knows like this is the environment that he's fostered.
Yeah, and
he's not stupid, and he doesn't stop it, so he's just like, no, they were mean to me.
Or what's the arch
They
professor
weren't nice.
responsible for studying? Be studying anything from like black art, like weapon
Yeah,
design,
who knows?
things like that. Like
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you never know, right? Like he might, that might be his.
he
like,
could have designed the whip.
Yeah.
Very well, or like, who knows? Like who knows what horrible thing that he's actually done in the name of just like, oh yeah, just a pure knowledge. We just want pure knowledge. And it's just so old that it doesn't matter anymore. When you get that old, all your crimes kind of bleed away.
Yeah.
So in the palace, though, we have the guard captain. How are we doing for time? We're an hour and 9 minutes in. Fuck, might even get to part 3. I think we can get through these ones though.
Yeah.
So the guard captain, what are we thinking? So this is the person that would manage sort of the military vassals, but not necessarily like the honor guard or the court of Lady Flameghost.
The general, day-to-day
Yeah,
warriors.
yeah. This isn't like a general. He doesn't command an army. This is just a guy who commands the palace guard. Like so.
Yeah. Somebody who's like beaten and broken down. Like he used to be up high, but he just wouldn't do something so vicious and so evil. He just refused, and they're like, "Fine, you're
Is
demoted
this like
to
the
this."
one good guy?
Yeah.
And this is the.
This is the consequence of being a good person or having virtue here.
Having
yeah.
morals.
It goes nowhere. This is your head chop off Eddard Stark sort of thing.
A morally upright person. Who's been
He wouldn't
devoted-
last, though.
That's
It's
the
thing.
beauty of having like somebody who's beaten down and broken and knowing only knowing you wield so much power, like having so much and then going to so little, you start to resort to like it's this like survival helplessness thing where you start to do like what you can. Like, well, I'll make sure that my guard has like their weapons don't rust, and like maybe he'll stay up like an extra bit and then like clean everybody's weapons and shields to make sure they're fine. Like, oh, like this soldier is like really hurt or like he needs more time or whatever, and he's like my best guy or something. Maybe I'll like break his leg so he needs more healing time, and I'll make a good case for him. Like he's still got to do crappy stuff to defend the people that he loves, because obviously he's in this kind of place, but like he's beaten and broken down by the things that he has to do.
Okay.
Like the only thing that keeps him from slipping is like this ruse that he can be moral, but the real crushing thing to it is like his actions mean nothing. They put him in a place where he literally can't do anything. They don't really care because that's the first line, right? They're like, who gives a fuck? Whereas
Yeah.
they have like better, more moral, upstanding armies and things that do way better for the palace. And he was once there, but what he had to do to maintain that was just too much for him. So being a good person in this place, you don't necessarily die. Like everybody in this place can't be super evil. Like maybe towards the capital you get things that are more like underhanded, like King's Landing, Game of Thrones sort of thing. But like you gotta have some sprinkle of good people. Like we have people that are blissfully unaware, but like not everybody is like that. Like people do see the evil that is happening, but what do you do when like you're the only good person in like unyielding evil and darkness? Well, you do what you can, because killing yourself or
Taking the
it's
easy
not
way
useful.
out.
It's not honorable either.
No, it
Like
isn't.
to keep your name and to kind of be that redemption. Like they didn't kill you, they demoted you, so you're still useful in a way, but you're not quite there.
Yeah.
And like maybe one day, like we'll give you a job, and maybe one day we'll keep teasing you with that. But like this nice treatment of all your staff and things like that, that's still something that kind of offsets us. Anyway, like I'm kind of rambling, but like I think it's even more evil to see good beaten down right in front of you. Like that's just degrading and demoralizing, especially since like you have like friendlier characters and stuff like that. But like if you hear about this guy, like he's nice, but this is what this place does with nice people.
Yeah.
You're good, you're honorable to some extent. Like, we can use you because of those features. But you're only a tool. You'll never be back in, like, the inner circle making any kind of decision ever again. Because you're not good for the country. You're not good for us.
All right. What you writing there?
Like, maybe he had the chance to be a ghoul. Like, there was a conversion. He's like, no, I don't want to eat people. So, like, hey, maybe to be your first thing to be a ghoul is like, hey, you have to eat your daughter. Like, we'll cut you a piece off right now, but, like, we're not leaving this room until at least 50% of her is gone. And that's gonna be a
lot
way
of
you prove
person.
it. That is a lot of person. But, like, that's the length you gotta go to prove that you're a loyal ghoul. And maybe halfway through, like, there's this thing with ghouls that, like, halfway through they get ravenous. Like, at first they're, like, puking and they're, like, spitting out the blood and stuff, but eventually you're like, oh, there's something they give you. They're like, oh, wait, no, this is, like, delicious. This is so good. And then they start crying while they're just consuming this. Like, they love it now. Like, it's just blowing their goddamn mind. And that person's alive and screaming. Like, you can make it really, really dark. And then this guy's like, I don't want to do that. Like, I've had to sit through and watch this shit. I can't do that. No way. And they're like, well, see you later. But first, maybe we'll take a little piece of you for ourselves. And then put you down. Like, just really scary shit.
Yeah.
Like, ghouls don't have to be nice whatsoever.
Well, that's the whole thing about this place, is it's not a nice place. That's good. That's good. I like it.
Thank you.
Dr. Predox bringing in that breath of fresh air.
There's this scene
Postdox.
Postdox now.
Yeah.
There's a scene, I think it's in Fate Zero, where, like, this murderer gets a champion, basically, but he's a crazy, insane murderer. But they match the champion with you. So they bring back this crazy, like, dark magic person who tortures children and stuff. And he's got this one kid tied up when he's summoned, and he's gonna kill him. He's like, oh, no, what are you doing? Like, no, that's not the way that we do things around here. He's like, what do you mean? Like, I'll let you do your thing, right? Like, show me what you mean.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so he goes over to the child and cuts him free and goes, okay, there you go.
Oh,
You're
that
free.
part made me laugh so much. I love it.
And there's this bright hallway. It's perfect. It's just this big dark room, and, like, there are dead kids in this room, but he's the last one, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, just run, go free. And he just cooks it. And as soon as he gets to the threshold of the hallway and the light hits him and there's a little bit of a shadow, from the right, all of these dark tentacles and, like, this screamy beast just snatch up this kid and pull him away.
And all you hear is bones breaking
Yeah.
and the kid's screaming, and he, like the murderer was like, hey, wait, what? And he's like, shh, and the kid goes away with, like, feeling of hope, and, like, the kid's like, I can see the door, and then the tentacles grab him, and all you hear is the kid screaming and bones breaking, and he's just like, sometimes true terror needs to be topped with hope. like that. And
Give them
Oh
hope
my
and
God.
take it away.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
He was brutal.
Castor was Gildered is who it was, and Castor was probably the best character in that series. Like, that series, that show was kind of not the best, but Castor made it good, and he was, like, the mid boss of the series. Like, at the end of, I guess it was 2 seasons, so he was the season 1 boss that everybody had to team up to fight, because he literally summons Cthulhu.
Oh God.
He's like, hey boys, we killed enough people, let's do it! And Cthulhu, let's do this! And everyone's like, wait, what? And yeah, they all
You're doing what now?
They all have to team up and fight Cthulhu, and then they beat Castor. And yeah, it was pretty awesome. That guy, and then he died, and then the show kind of went downhill from there, and got real dumb. And like all Fate's Day stories, the ending is stupid, and it wasn't worth watching. Because it builds up to some bullshit nonsense that tries to be deep but really isn't. It's just dumb.
The thing for the thing I think when I put the guard captain is this thing from the 3.5 book about the Dark Paladins, and I believe the line is, the greatest evil is when the greatest good falls. So, like, this is kind of the idea they have for him. They're like, yeah, he's a great guy, but if we break him and bend him and mutate him, he'll be an evil unlike anything that we have here.
Okay.
Maybe. Or maybe they're just pricks.
Maybe they're just pricks.
Maybe they're just pricks.
So what's this guy's name?
Leviticus Cole.
Cole. Didn't we use Cole already?
Did we? No, we used
No,
Cole.
we didn't. Leviticus?
Yeah, like lively. Or life. But he with the Cole at the end, it's like...
How about Leviticus is the last name?
Okay.
And that gives us like it has an obvious. I think that's a book in the Bible. So
Yeah,
that
is
gives
it?
you like a good man kind of
Leviticus
feel. Yeah.
is.
Okay. I don't know.
But
anything
why
about
don't
the
why don't
Bible,
we do
so-
like a really like stern name like a Thomas or something? Like Thomas
Soren
Leviticus?
Shieldbreaker Leviticus.
Soren Shieldbreaker Leviticus? I don't think so.
I think that's a bit too much.
I'm not.
Just a touch.
Borgard, Dragon Slayer, Shield Destroyer, Leviticus of the North Star. That's his fucking
Give him like an honorable name that he's not supposed to have. That's like the only thing that he hangs on to. Like the one thing he wants from other people is to like call him that name, and like some of his men do, but that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
You know what? No, this is what we're gonna do. Let's give him his name, Thomas. I'm
Thomas
going with
Leviticus.
Thomas. His name's Thomas Leviticus. The Good.
The Gid.
Okay? And this is a name. The Good Man. Alright? He's the captain of the guard. Alright? He wants people to address him as captain of the guard, but no, they address him as the Good Man. Hello, my good man. Hello, good man.
Oh, that's nasty.
The service thing.
You're the good man. You didn't do it. You didn't do the thing. Now you're a good man. Go ahead, good man. Oh, you didn't get the supplies you needed? I'm sure you'll still do your job with distinction. Go, good man. You're capable of doing it. You're the good man.
Ow.
It's a way to take his name off of like
That's
any,
just rubbing
any
sand. Like,
feat that he does, like any
glass.
good that he does.
yeah. The good man.
He becomes an enigma that way. Like even after his death, like, oh, the good man did this. Who was he? They'll just make up his name.
Yeah.
Nobody will remember it.
They'll just remember the good man.
The good man.
That's rough. That's rough.
Use his title.
Jesus.
Guard captain.
I don't think he should be whole. He
No.
should be missing something. You don't get up that high and get cast down so low with everything.
Yeah.
If they're gonna give him shit resources to work with, then they're gonna give him a shit body to work with too.
We'll go with missing fingers. Missing toes. And what else we gotta be? No, let's just go with fingers and toes. Let's not give him like a peg leg or anything silly like that. Let's just go with missing fingers. That's like a
Take
it's like
away,
a gang thing.
take away his strong sword hand, and make him like learn the other thing, like do the Jaime Lannister thing. Like a warrior's greatest pride is the way that he's able to wield his thing.
Okay,
If, like,
missing
you're not-
fingers from his primary
Yeah.
sword hand. So like he can sort of wield it, but it's like a crappy
His grip's
claw. Like, his
not
grip
good.
sucks, so he needs to sort of work with.
If you
his
won't
other
wield
hand.
the sword for us, you'll wield it for no one.
Well, I think we said that. Yeah. So what I got written here is Thomas Leviticus, the good man, The guard captain, a morally upright vessel who's been demoted from unit commander to the master of the guard for not doing something patently vile. He refused to take part in the massacre of a person when he had the opportunity to become a ghoul. He works with the little resources he is given to perform his job with distinction. A broken man who futilely works towards some level of distinction that he will never receive, that he had before. He is treated with absolute disdain from his peers and will consistently slight him with passive aggressive ways. But will never attack him directly. People call him good man out of spite rather than use his title guard captain, missing fingers from his primary sword hand. I think that covers this correctly, and then anybody who listens to the episode would probably get a better insight into how vile this world is. Like he's our like Jesus figure, I guess we would call it. Like this is the character. This is your martyr that lets you see how fucking horrible this place is. Like this is what happens to good people.
Yeah.
Who's next in the palace?
I'm thinking there's some sort of mistress.
A mistress?
Yeah.
What kind of mistress?
Like a brothel style mistress.
Like
Only works in the palace, doesn't work with the slaves. Like only has the good stock for those who.
So we're talking about like non-slave, like prostitutes. Like there's a brothel in the palace, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Or
Okay.
maybe she does get some of the slaves, like the really pretty ones.
Or there's a harem. Maybe all good cons have a harem.
Yeah. That could work too.
So I guess. Okay. Yeah. All right. I have a pretty good idea for this. Okay.
Okay.
The harem. Mistress. Okay. So this is something that's kind of interesting. Ghizza doesn't like people seeing her do intimate things.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of ways we can approach this. All right. Also, Ghizza's a lady, so I don't know if she would really get real down and dirty. Like, is that something that she does? So there's a couple of ways like we can approach this. One, we can go the kind of like vile darkness kind of way and say, no, she gets down and dirty real bad. She doesn't like when people see her do things. So all of her harem are blind.
Yeah.
Like we can go with that kind of direction where it's like they cannot hear and they cannot see. They're basically like gimps. All right? And this is like a woman that takes care of cattle.
Okay.
The other option is that this is not something that particularly interests Ghizza, and it is essentially a harem that is kept for show. Like it's just a harem of men who do nothing but stand, like they're eunuchs, and they do nothing. They're just, maybe they study the sword or something, like who knows what they're doing, but they don't do anything because they're not desired, but they're almost like necessary. Like all cons have a harem, so it's like you have to keep this harem, but they're good. They're not good for anything.
Yeah. What do you think there, Professor?
Okay.
Doctor?
I really like the first idea because you can spread like yeah, you have to like blind and deafen these people, but I really like.
I'm not sure why you have to deafen them though.
She doesn't want you to hear her either.
No?
Well, why would you? It's like the same idea, right?
I guess.
But does it take something away in the audible thing? Like the
Or
look,
whatever.
the look is cool because like here's
what did we write? Like she
She hates being seen doing things.
hates being seen eating, drinking, joining the intimate. She hates being in a position of weakness. Will cover her mouth when eating, will only sip small sips, etc. Yeah, we could take that literally too. Like they just might be blind. We can go both directions if you want. Like where it's like, no, everyone is prepared for the things like this harem is set up for when she wants to do things with her harem. Like any good con, sometimes you just got to get your jollies off.
Yeah.
But she doesn't do this often. And so as a result, they're pretty much good for nothing. So maybe they're like samurai, you know, in the sense where it's like, you know, samurai kind of, you know, had to be social, but they also had to be like, they had a job and they had to hone their skills, but maybe all these guys end up like Voldos. Like they end up like,
So we got
they're trained to be killers.
a whole bunch of Grey Worms, basically.
What's Grey Worm? What are we talking
From
about?
Game of Thrones, the head slave guy.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Oh, yes. Okay,
There.
yeah, that guy. Daenerys' dude.
Yeah, Daenerys's head general
What do you
or
think?
whatever.
I like the idea
Or
that
do you want them to all be just gimps?
I like that there's a special harem. I like that there could be a rite of passage to that special harem, as in like the kiss of death, where she stares into your eyes and they boil out, and it's the last thing that they see of her, right? Like it's this weird thing she
She'll
gets her
boil
jollies
out your
off
eyes.
on.
Okay, sure,
But
I'll take that.
with the looks and the stares, when like you're doing your thing, they have like weird marks all over the place. But like she doesn't do this super often, right? Because it's kind of like, ew, it's kind of gross, you know, like ew, germs and stuff. Lots of people,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But these people are the vassals to head other harems. So the harem mistress is just one of them. So she is blind and she's like scarred up, but it's almost like they're almost like cool tattoos. Like it's not something that's done with like absolute fervor and like no direction whatsoever. Like she gets off on like being the only person in the room with eyes and like burns whatever she wants into this person.
Okay, so these people are... Okay, so her harem is man candy that she's decorated. They're all paintings.
Both.
So sometimes she'll come and just take a look at her harem. Is what you're going at.
Until eventually she's just like, well, everybody get in a room, like we're gonna do this, like we had a rough fucking month or whatever like that.
Or maybe she's just like, oh, I really like the work that I did on this one.
Yeah, these are like the chosen few. These are the ones
Or
that
whatever.
understand exactly what I'm trying to get towards with like my own thing and like what I think other people should experience. So like, go.
No, well,
Spread what I
she
what I
treats
like.
them like... Okay, so these are essentially gimps, right? That are treated more or less like fine cattle. And they're literally her artworks. Is what you're going
Yeah,
for.
like almost they're all amazing pieces.
No,
of
yeah,
work.
not almost.
They are.
Actually.
They are. They
They
all
are her artworks.
masterpieces.
There's no almost about it. So like we're this is what we're going for. And the harem mistress is the one that makes sure the horses are fed
The more tattoos
and clothed and washed, and that the mistress's good work and the Khan's good work isn't marred by healing or something stupid like that.
So,
Like
like,
they're all
this-
burned horribly, but like, you know, nobody's gonna screw around. Like no one's gonna go out into the sun too long and burn the mistress's good work away.
Have you ever heard of scarification?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
exactly
like
what I'm
that.
thinking of.
Yeah,
Except
100%.
except she's burning you, so they're burn scars.
Okay.
Or maybe
I
like,
like
she
it.
doesn't like the bubbling flesh or whatever, and she like cuts them out like the really
Whatever
intense
she's
scarification
doing,
and makes
that-
like these cool designs.
She
and
might
stuff.
she might
She's
you
like
know,
really into weird macabre art.
she might do shit. Who cares? But these are all blind because this is an extremely
Yeah,
intimate fair.
100%.
Yeah.
And so when you become a harem, like this is yeah okay.
But they're your trophies. The more you got, the more you were respected.
I like
There's
that.
no respecting any of this. No, none of the
no,
pieces.
for her.
Oh, for her. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
And like others look at you and they're like, yeah, she's the head honcho for a reason. Like that kiss of death thing is, like it might be a brutal process, but holy man, you're up there.
Manages the cons.
You got one-on-ones with the Khan, like damn. It's a pretty high up thing for slaves, I think.
Yeah.
Well, she doesn't choose just anyone.
Yeah, but that's not a high up position.
No.
These people are not like, yeah, they might be revered
As compared to
but
like
no.
other slaves is what I'm
It
saying.
doesn't matter. These other slaves have faculties. They're capable of doing things, right? These people, you know, they're nice horses. Like they're animals. You know, they're not human anymore. Like, they're not treated with distinction except for as like a painting, right? Pack them up, boys. We're gonna move them over this way. You know, this isn't like, you know, if they break a leg or if the painting gets ruined, they just dispose of it. You know, this is not. These aren't people anymore. Now, the harem is a bunch of completely dehumanized people. That's horror. That's the horror of this is when you reach the apex and she really likes the way you look. You become not human anymore. She'll just objectify you to a point where you're literally a work of art in her art gallery that is her harem.
Okay, yeah.
That's
now
horrible.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like, this isn't. There's no respect. You know, the only respect is for her good work. And, like, everybody else's respect is the respect of maintaining her good work. That just so happens to be on what was once a human body. Now you're just a work of art that can happen to move. And if you screw around with yourself too much, they'll just chain you up. Okay? You have the privilege of walking and moving and eating on your own. We can stop that privilege at any time.
Yeah.
Like, we'll feed bag you and fucking bound you up so that the mistress's good work doesn't get ruined. You know, don't scratch at it too much, even if it does itch.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to put hand guards on you so you can't scratch. Like, these are not people that are. These are not people that. No,
These are not people.
No. Yeah.
Period. Yeah.
Fuck. How do I even write this?
Harem? Air
Yeah,
quotes?
the harem are
Were once people.
people who have been completely objectified into a work of art.
By Ghizza.
Process begins. And this is... I'm going to go a note here. With the burning, the boiling out of their eyes. All eunuchs, I guess. The blind. Then when
Come on, you can do it.
wires, she sculpts, burns in patterns. What? It burns in patterns that suit her taste at the time, I guess.
Yeah? Jeez.
When this is done, you are not human. Seen as a person, but a work of art or a valuable pet whose whole purpose is to maintain the Khan's artwork. This could lead to situations where your personal comfort is compromised for maintenance of the work. I don't know. I guess that's about as far as I can go with that. calm for. Anything else anybody's got to say here that I'm forgetting?
No. I
My
think
spelling
that's-
is garbage.
Give her like an art piece name.
Okay.
People
So
that
this is the harem. And so let's talk about the harem mistress. What's her name?
Hmm.
We'll call her the curator.
The curator.
The harem curator, because this is...
Yeah, that fits better. Talia? Talia something.
If you're a piece of art, you don't deserve a people name.
Yeah, but she's not a piece of art.
No?
No, she's the curator of the museum.
Oh,
She's the one who makes sure that everything is maintained. This is what we're dealing with here. We're not dealing with a gimp. The gimp is not a character. What do we got here? Talia seems pretty good. Let's go with. Talia Morale? What is that? How's that sound? The harem curator?
Okay.
yeah, it works for me.
Khan's personal harem. So what do you think of that? Here, I'm going to give the reins to you to type. I'm going to take Jazzy up.
Okay.
She's begging. Come on.
All you, bud.
Oh boy, I am much worse than Brian. Yeah, at typing. So, spelling in general, really. So yeah, what are we thinking here? What is she like? Would she be somebody who's? I don't think she'd be somebody who's exceptionally pretty, because the Khan would probably take her as a work of art. So maybe just average, because the curator wouldn't be somebody who's exceptionally ugly.
Maybe the really scary thing about the con is she focuses on really unique aspects of people
Okay.
that are really subjective to her. So it doesn't really matter about how you look. There's just one day the con can come in and scoop you up. So like even when she enters a room, like people tend to look away from her or like hide their features, because it isn't about how beautiful you are. Maybe could just be a birthmark that you have on you or something like that. Because
Okay.
if she's like a germaphobe, she seems like somebody who would like overthink things and have anxieties about things, even to the point where like you like things manically. If you're gonna be obsessive and make pieces of art like that. So like maybe she could be exceptionally pretty to like bring in the business, just because it isn't like exceptionally pretty things that the con is looking for. She's looking to make exceptionally good things.
This is people with distinctive features. Touch me. Alright, so the harem curator has well, what does she have?
I think she's got a bad habit of commodifying people.
Of what?
Like they're not people to her; they're commodities.
Okay. Well, yeah, we've already established that.
Yeah, but like there's a certain era that you treat things versus you treat people. So like kind of attributes that would associate people that treat things like, or people like idols. Like not absurd or crazy cruelty, because you got to keep the merchandise looking pretty and kind of, you know, in some kind of state.
Okay.
But you don't like. I don't want to.
You literally type nothing. What's
No, we've added a little bit.
I don't want to copy like the other things that we've done with the other characters.
Yeah.
Because like we've kind of done like the manipulative, cruel. We've done like the Godfather type, like.
Yeah.
Why don't you make her neurotic?
Neurotic?
Yeah, like she's just like very much into her job. Like this is her job. She does her job. I do my job to the letter. This is my job.
Okay.
You know, like I take care of the artworks. So like I make sure that these artworks are doing it. Like maybe this is one of those characters that might struggle with the idea that these are people. So you can accentuate it. It's like, you know, these, you know, they don't have names. These don't have names.
Well, he was talking about going in the other direction.
They
What?
do have
no,
names.
No. They don't have names. They're just merchandise. Like they're just things. They're not people.
Yeah, but she doesn't have a problem with that.
Or maybe she gives them, like maybe the Khan gives each artwork a new name.
I don't think there's a problem with viewing people as items, but I don't think you have a problem if the items tend to judge you. Like you're just doing your job.
Maybe she gets along with them pretty well because like we haven't taken out their tongues. They can speak and they can hear, so they obviously can communicate.
It's easy to get along with her as long as you're doing your job.
Or maybe that's the thing. Maybe that she's neurotic about it, but she's just also maybe she's trying to juggle all the needs of the artworks. Like maybe it's not so much, if like take scratching for example. It's like, oh, if you keep scratching, we're just gonna tie you up. Like maybe she'll try to find solutions. She's always trying to find an answer so that the artworks cannot feel particularly horrible, right? Like,
Okay.
like, is she an evil person or a good person? What are we talking here?
Jeez, your sensitivity's through the roof.
It always is. So does she care about the feelings of the artwork, or does she not care about the feelings of the artwork? That's going to be our question.
I think you were leaning towards the not caring about the feelings of the artwork, right?
I think maybe like the type of business you run is kind of keeping people happy, but at the same time, those people are also kind
They're
of
not
cattle
people.
to the business.
Yeah.
Right? So the excessive neurotic line that you're walking is trying to keep that balance between keeping people happy and actually running, a proper business, but to her standard, not to anyone else's. Like she would have an accelerated standard, and that accelerated standard is what clashes with people, because she doesn't have a full understanding that these are people because they are commodities, and that's kind of the catch-22.
Okay. Well, how would we write that then?
There's a problem with your shit.
It's hard to write down.
No, it's because you give out a paragraph or two of this,
Well, I want to
reading.
describe exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, well now you've described it perfectly. Now slim it down to a sentence.
Excessively
or two.
neurotic about balancing the job and the needs of the artwork. Yeah, it takes meticulous care of the artwork. That's
About the needs of her job and art.
Okay.
Pretty sure there's only one L in balancing. There we go.
Managed comes spending exception in your art, but balancing needs of her job and the artwork, takes meticulous care of the artwork. So, does she view the artwork as people first, and then does she try to give them the benefit of the doubt of being people before it's whatever, or is she completely removed from the fact that they are humans anymore? What are we talking about here? Are they treated like a harem, or are they treated like their works of art basically in cells, almost in cages? What are we talking about here? Because she's the curator, so she's the one who runs it, and she's doing it rather successfully. So
I would say she doesn't view them as well.
are these free-range artworks, or are these kept in pens?
I think the title of curator implies more of more of an order to it. Like, it just kind of seems more authoritative than like mistress or something like that. Like, curator is very much down to the letter, removed of all sex entirely.
Yeah.
Like, it really seems like it would be like more
Somebody
of a
runs a tight ship, one might say.
like people would like her in a way where people would be
Well,
slowly.
why don't we say that she gives them freedom only insofar as they do not disrupt the quality of the work that they are.
To the boundaries of the cage.
Yeah, to the boundaries of the cage,
Yeah.
and the cage may be visible or not visible, but there is a very firm understanding that, like, no, you are artwork, you know, and the punishment for basically disrupting the work is brutally severe. Like, basically, you lose all freedom. You are literally a hanging statue. You know, you're a living tapestry if you cross the line. And so this is like something that everybody knows. But like, if you act well, treat yourself with care, take care of yourself, you have the freedom to act almost like you're in a real harem. But as soon as you step out of that, you want something else. You know, you start mistreating yourself or whatever. Maybe you start gaining weight. Who knows what, right? You know, then the curator comes down hard. When would the characters ever meet this person? I don't know. Maybe she takes... Actually, that's a good question.
Maybe
When would they
somebody
meet this
who's
person?
really pretty gets offered a position.
Could be. Or, what does she do in her spare time? Like, she's not always the curator person, so maybe this is where, you know, maybe she likes to hang out, I don't know, somewhere in the palace. Maybe she likes to drink. Maybe she does something. Maybe that's her thing. She likes to drink. So, like, if the players somehow end up in the same or similar place as her and she's drinking, maybe she slums it. Who knows what? Maybe she likes to slum it just to, like, get away from, like, the sterile environment of her work. So she goes to somewhere real dirty.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. I'd use the word restricted.
Severely restricted?
Yeah. Because they're not punished. Like, punish would imply that... Like, I guess they would be punished, but the type
Yeah,
of punishment is not like you're getting a spanking, because heaven knows that might hurt the artwork. No, it's just, we're just going to chain you up. You know, we're going to find a way. We're going to give you silk cloths and tie you up so you're not going anywhere. You know, you're...
Yeah. Alright. So she frequents...
lively, earthy, you know, peasant places. Like I would say this is a person who needs to get away from
Down.
her job and like just slop up. You know, even if it's down into the slave pits to drink slave grog. Like you gotta have the stink of life about you. Like because her job is so sterile, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that neuroses is forced. Does that make sense? Is that
Yeah,
Is that
Yeah, I
absolutely,
get
that
what you
makes
mean.
sense.
Lively...
Are you looking for a word?
Yeah, I'm looking for a word to continue this sentence.
Grimy.
That'll work.
E-Y. Grimey. Nope. Never mind.
Nope.
Could be a word that it just doesn't recognize.
Well, it's probably going to go...
Grimey. Just put that in and then see what it says. Grimmy.
Grimmy.
Grimy. Grimy. Oh, I guess that's grimy.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, whatever. Lively, grimy. low class areas, like. So this would be how you'd meet her, right? Like you'd get an idea of what it's like in the palace.
Would she have a guard when she went out?
Maybe not.
Well, like, how sloppy and vindictive does she get? Like, how much stress does she gotta blow off? Like, how sloppy does
Well,
she get?
the way I was thinking was it's the atmosphere that she wants changed. Like, she doesn't necessarily have to become a sloppy drunk. Like, maybe if that's the way the GM wants to portray it. But, like, in this case, it's a lot about change of scenery. Like, when you literally are dehumanizing everybody and turning them into artworks, and you're treating everyone as cattle, and that's, like, your job a lot of times. Like, when you have time off, maybe you just want to see a bunch of people be people. Like, just be crazy. Like, fucking fight and sweat and stink and, like, all this stuff that makes people. Right? Like, it... To me, that, like, makes a character...
Is she a gambler?
Maybe.
Would she go after that kind of a thrill?
Sure, maybe. This is what I was saying. Like, this might be something that, like, the GM might want to portray depending on what their tastes are. But the idea is this is somebody who's looking to, like...
Liven up the
maybe,
place.
maybe not necessarily live life, but be around a lively place. Like, you know, that old shitty sailor's tavern, right? This isn't going to be a stuffy place where she goes and sips tea. You know, she's going to get down into the shit.
Yeah.
And, you know, even if you're in the slave pit, she might actually be in the slave pit fucking bar. And, you know, the slave pit bar is going to have guards, so she's not going to be in danger.
And people probably wouldn't fuck with her in the city proper because she is who she is. People would know who she is.
Yeah, like, I don't picture like a guard or whatever, right? Like, this is not...
Yeah. She probably does her own thing.
Yeah. But she's not important enough that it matters, and she's not unimportant enough that people are going to be like, oh yeah, just gut her or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, people will know, like guards and stuff will know who she is and make sure that she is taken care of, because that would look real bad on them if you know, the harem curator is like killed in their district. You know, so
Yeah, that'd be rough. So what do we think? That's good? Manage the Khan's personal harem, excessively neurotic about balancing...
I think that's okay.
And artwork.
Does anybody have any characters off the top of their head that they're interested in? Because, like, we're coming on time, and...
Yeah, it's getting pretty
there's
long
a
here.
lot of material here for people to work with, I think. What do you guys think?
You got any ideas there?
Come on, Dead Air's bad radio.
Yeah, bad,
okay,
dead air
yeah.
is bad radio.
You've got-
We'll just throw ideas out here. All right.
Maybe we'll do one
They don't
more.
even have to be like super ridiculous. Like, they don't have to be as crazy as this one. Just
Yeah.
like anything.
Maybe we'll just do one more.
Okay.
Maybe a...
Well, you got. You had something.
Well, okay.
Yeah, you're rolling.
Just
Get that head going.
I'm just shy. Okay.
Okay.
What about like a small resistance? Like
A
something
resistance.
that like people are trying to give other people hope. Like, this is an obviously crushing setting and something like that, but wouldn't people fight back? Wouldn't some people want to fight back? Like, yeah, we see what happens to the good man, but maybe he was just actually a failure and he's not a very good person.
Why don't instead of that we
maybe a usurper or something?
well, obviously the Khan has her enemies.
Yeah.
So why don't we just have someone like her main rival? And one of his tactics is to bring the slaves hope. You know, have them rise up. You know, try to like this would be the
That's-
character.
yeah. That's where they keep Curly.
Yeah.
Because Curly keeps them from revolting.
But like, yeah. So sort of his modus operandi is to be like, it's so horrible here. You know, if I were in charge, I
The
would.
drama man.
Yeah. The
Causing
trauma.
little problems for other people while taking the center stage.
But you know, he would interact with the PCs in a way that like his agents or whatever may approach the PCs and be like, you don't like your lot in life, do you? We can help you. You know, they point you in the right direction. It's like a friend has sent me. You know, this kind of thing. Or like if the PCs have run themselves into a corner, you know, you might have this guy being like, oh, you know, a person be like, a friend has sent me. Here, go through this door. You know, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
Shh, don't worry about it. You know,
Just-
walk away.
We're
Just
here to
go
take
through the
care
door.
of you.
Yeah.
We'll give you
We
a
know
hand.
you're not happy with this.
So let's give him a name and then we'll talk about who he is.
Okay.
Well, he is obviously going to be a flame ghost. So his last name's going to be
Okay.
Flame Ghost. So she was named after pizza. So
Yeah.
what other food? What's your favorite food?
I like Chinese food. It's really good.
Okay. What's
Chinese food. What's your favorite Chinese food?
Oh man,
You have
like,
to say a
we
thing.
can't call him chicken ball flame ghost. Sweet and sour with rice, flame ghost.
Okay, well let's call him Gaiken.
Gaiken?
Yeah,
What's that from?
Ghicken
C-K-E-N?
or Ckan because we already put an A there. Yeah, Gaiken Flame Ghost. So he's named after chicken. Because Ghizza's named after pizza.
Yeah.
Ghoul
There we go,
pizza,
yeah.
Ghoul chicken.
Okay.
The usurper, the quiet usurper.
The usurer.
The usurper.
The usurper.
That's okay. Apparently still not spelled
Well,
right.
we'll all learn how to spell
Yeah,
usurper with
you
the
do
one
that,
right
'cause
click.
I can't handle that fucking mouse. It's way too sensitive.
It's on
Fair enough.
cocaine jet mode.
Usurper.
Usurper.
Okay, so Gaiken Flame Post, the usurper. Moves to spark rebellion. Has a network of people who work subtly to spark rebellion and have Ghizza destroyed. A slave uprising or an assassination or some other problem. Basically, exactly what the PCs are there, and he's just like, oh, maybe they'll do the job this time, And if they don't, he's just like, well, maybe it'll be all of them at some point, just poke and prod here, a little bit there. Eventually, things will go sour. Maybe it'll be some people in the city. Maybe it'll be the slaves. Who knows? Maybe the good man will take her out, and he'll become the Khan. No, he won't become the Khan.
No, not the good man.
That'd be dope.
Oh, your spelling is bad. Give me that back.
Give me the thing. I've been typing
it doesn't
papers
reach all
for
the way.
7
I told
years.
you.
Doesn't reach all the way to me.
Rebellion. Moves to spark a rebellion through subtle VTLE means. Generally will use new slaves and how do I want to moves to spark rebellion or assassination through subtle means that can't be linked to him.
Okay.
Is this like a lesser houses kind of thing?
No, it's family. So like maybe it's like a cousin or something like that. Like who knows? Who knows? But it's like he's also a flame ghost.
Gotcha.
Moves to spark rebellion or assassinate through subtle means that cannot be linked to him.
Anything?
Controls an underground network of saboteurs.
Oh my god.
What?
in the
Have him-
province.
Have Gaiken purposely fund the guys who break out because they always do it wrong, right? But they
Okay.
always cause chaos in some way, and like small factions always go towards escaping.
I don't see why that would be like he might even make it so that they always forget something. Like
Yeah.
he might also help set up the flaws.
He gives them
Yeah.
flawed plans to work with and knows that their inherent flaws will flaw it even more. But the point isn't for them to succeed. The point is for them to fuck up and continue like causing trouble for other people. It's why there's only those guys, right? Like, why is everybody else punished but not those guys for some reason? Like, it's always somebody else's fault, but they're not going to tell you. They're always going to tell you, oh yeah, we got off scot-free because, like, we're so good and we never get caught, right? But maybe there's... The underground network keeps them out of trouble for a reason. Maybe he talks to the cook. Hey, maybe you should, use a little bit more alcohol in your cooking for this person. Oh, why is that? Don't worry. Just take your share and go. Give them a little bit more alcohol with their meal. And there's just a known alcoholic and they fuck something up for their house or something. They lose their honor. Gone.
All right, so this is the $1,000 question. What's his fire elemental power?
Yeah.
Like, what's his cool fire power? She burns things with her eyes. So what does he do?
His is the tongue, but it's not his tongue that's actual fire. It's his words. So everything that he says to you makes you feel warm and fuzzy. But there could also be an extreme. When he insults you, you like start pouring sweat and like burning up from the inside.
Oh,
Like you
okay.
can't breathe and you start choking out. Like his isn't like a direct thing. It's very it has to do with him speaking. And that's the charisma thing. Why do I always feel so nice when he's around? Maybe I will do things for him.
Yeah.
Because, like, the darker side of charisma is being able to force people to do things without you telling them to do things.
Yeah.
And that's the really scary thing about somebody who's trying to get into power like that. So they're going to have that control over everyone.
His fire power makes his words heat up your body in good or uncomfortable ways, depending on his mood.
Mood or intent?
Intent.
Okay.
So that works, yeah. So like, yeah, he will do. There you go. And we don't have to go too far into who Gaikin is.
Yeah,
And-
he's
he
a guy
controls
trying to
underground network,
usurp the throne.
saboteurs, provinces, work on Mars, power makes his words heat up his body. Has the bearing of a courtier. Who's lived a life of ease. Because he is.
Mm-hmm. Alright.
I think that should be okay. And so yeah, like these are your he would be Gaikin would probably be the game's scapegoat, not scapegoat, but he's your MacGuffins or your Deus Ex Machinas from the PCs really get themselves in a pickle. And it's like, like I said, sometimes like over here. And it's like usher you into a hiding spot or something like that. Like something
Usurper
that
works in strange
It
ways.
ways, yes.
So that would work well. And like Talia's purpose would be to sort of depict kind of the psychology of the Khan if you're in the slave pit. Because she's going to be roughnecking it, probably where you guys are, and you can actually talk with someone who's like sort of in the noble caste. Thomas Leviticus is he's the foil, like he's the character who will really show how brutal this place is. You can see what a broken man looks like. This is he's gonna make you like you're gonna like this guy in theory. Like he'll be the kind of person who does his job, and if you heard more about him, you might like admire this person and realize that the whole system is corrupt and needs to be stopped or whatever. Like this is the character that will make you dislike this province, right?
Yeah.
The good characters will find a huge, like they will hate this place. The arch professor is like he's like a lovable character, but like at the end of the day, he kind of shows how just nonchalantly villainous this place is. If you probably, most players probably won't, at least in my most good role players probably won't slight this person unless that's in their character, and bad role players will always slight this person regardless of their character.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be that guy who turns these people into paste. Like he's the subtle evil.
Matthias Smoothies.
Yeah, like
Matthias Smoothies.
This is the guy that your bad role players will die to, 100%. The cook mistress is going to be that's the character that we bring out to show how regimented this place, the Khans are, like this city is, and how much it's corrupt. Like how corrupt it is, how pretty much evil it is, and yeah, the escapists, they're your way out if you want to work with them, but they're dumb, and they add a little bit of levity to the experience of being a slave, and that's really their point.
Yep.
Same with Gorm Creeley, the Eternal Slave. In the same way, he is that lovable character that makes you all not feel so bad about being enslaved, because nobody in any game really likes having all their equipment stripped and turned into a slave.
Yeah.
Nobody likes it.
No.
They all hate it. But if you can set up a situation where it's actually pretty enjoyable, Gorm Creeley is the guy that does that. Him and the escapists are the two that really get this going. Pitiless Glouse, or Pitiless Glouse. The slave master, his purpose is to have someone you immediately fucking hate. Alright? This is a character who you will not respect, and if your party is a fight kind of party, this is going to be your encounter. Like, this is your guy that will, if you kill him, you're gonna be asked by the Khan for a meeting. Like, that, just move right on up. You know? Because this guy is a monster. And everybody knows it, and nobody particularly likes him, but he is a monster. And he does a good work as the slave master. Yeah. And then obviously, like I said, there's Ghizza herself, who is pretty complex.
She's got a lot going for her.
Yeah, and we've already covered her in earlier parts
Part
of the
1.
episode. And in part 1.
Yep.
So I think this is pretty well put together. That probably covers it. If anybody wants to use the brush with Mong module,
I think I probably will.
I will, because it sounds pretty cool, guys.
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Pretty
cool.
But I'll put it on the Cast Skunkworks, and I'll leave a link probably in the description when we put this version of the video up. And maybe I'll change the description of the first episode, but probably not. With that said, next week we'll start a new one, and we might even have 4 people. You
Oh,
know?
man.
Yeah, because I know Mr. Dagwood's going to show up next week. He said he will.
Maybe we'll have Mr. Postdox back.
Perhaps.
Dr. Postdox. You don't go to Postdox school for 4 years to be called Mr. Thank you.
Okay, that's terribly sorry. My apologies,
Dr.
sir.
Mr. Professor to you.
So, if you guys liked what you heard, or you have any questions, or you want to add some stuff that you think is a good idea for the module, throw it in that comment section.
Put it all in there.
The more is there, the better, right? Like, it's if people like this kind of work and they think that we're doing something interesting, so be it. And maybe we'll put it in if I ever get around to making finished products of them. And that's kind of the hope. At some point, we'll compile them all into something interesting, and maybe it'll turn into a well-designed book. Who knows? So, with that said, thank you all for listening. We're 2 hours and 10 minutes in. That's crazy.
That's pushing one of their longest ones.
I'll like
that
and
is the
subscribe, buy that merch, all that other nonsense.
That non-existent merch.
Subscribe to PewDiePie. Do your part.
Do your part.
Do
Oh,
your
God.
part.
That's
Really?
true.
Guys, come
Be
on.
part of the
Do you
9-year-old.
support T-Series?
No, I don't support either of them.
How?
That is-
We're an internet show. Like, we gotta. If we could cut that out, we'd have to cut that out. Oh my god. He's trying to ruin us.
That's
Don't
brutal.
shake.
Doesn't even understand
You know what?
he's a part of.
Subscribe to PewDiePie.
Subscribe to PewDiePie.
We did our part.
We did our part.
There you
Jesus
go.
Christ.
All right, everybody, you guys all take care. Thank you for listening, and don't die.